Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Ooh, boo-boolicious. So, a little bit of a background on my breastfeeding journey. So when Grayson was born, he had a very difficult time latching on. Nurses, lactation consultants, literally back to back, people were telling us like, who's stubborn out of you, because this guy does not want to latch. It was such a mission to try to get him to latch. I needed to use a breast shield every time I breastfed. We would have to get either colostrum or formula if I didn't have enough, and use a pipette and drip it onto the breast shield so he could latch and get stimulated to suck. We did that. It took 2 people to breastfeed him. I want to say for like 3 weeks. So definitely from the get-go, breastfeeding was really difficult for me. I was so sad that I wasn't having this magical, breastfeeding experience, because when he was latched on, it was truly like the most amazing feeling. It wasn't really hurting. It was just that special bond. He would hold my boob with his little hands, and it was just such a magical experience. So when he wasn't latching 6 weeks on, 7 weeks, 8 weeks on to my breasts, it was the most devastating thing for me that I think I could have gone through so far in my breastfeeding journey. But I continued to pump. I started pumping day 2 in the hospital to help with my colostrum and help bring my milk in faster. I did have a C-section, and with whatever I was pumping, obviously I had to feed him. He got to the point where he would hysterically scream at my boob every single time, and it was becoming frustrating for him. It was becoming very frustrating for me. So I continued to pump. I also had a pretty bad infection after the hospital. I got a UTI that led to a kidney infection, so I was on a bunch of different antibiotics. This hit my milk supply really hard. I went from producing like 18 ounces a day to like 7-8 ounces a day, which also made me so sad and so upset. I had to supplement with formula, which if you formula feed, there's nothing wrong with that. Fed is best. Whichever way you feed your baby, at least you're feeding your baby. But for me personally, I felt like I was, I'm already not getting this bond with my child that I'm so yearning for through breastfeeding, and I have to pump, and now whatever I'm pumping is not enough. So it was definitely really, really sad for me. I was on a mission to get my milk production up. I was thinking, okay, if this kid is not going to latch, I'm going to get my breast milk production up as high as I can. So I ordered supplements from Legendary Milk. I'm going to post everything down below. And I took them for a month straight. I was power pumping. Now, power pumping is when you pump 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off for an hour. So you're literally connected to the pump essentially for an hour with breaks every 10 minutes. I would do that for, I did that for maybe 2 weeks straight every single day. That helped me a lot because it's supply versus demand, right? Until your body regulates. And I was pumping 10 times a day. And there were some days where I didn't make enough and I had to supplement. I literally, whatever my freezers, I had made a freezer stash initially. I went through all of that. I was unfreezing my last batch of milk, and I literally cried because I felt like a failure. Mom guilt is so real, and nobody tells you how hard it is. But I kept, taking my supplements. I'm drinking at least a gallon of water a day. I'm eating really clean, as clean as I can, having minimally processed foods, making sure I'm getting the right calories, the right amount of fats. Now I feel like I'm overproducing. I'm making about 40 ounces a day, and he's only eating about 30 to 32 depending on the day. So I have a large batch of frozen breast milk that I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with, but I will use it every which way I can. Once he starts his solids, I'm gonna be mixing it in with that. I'll do milk baths, and I'll probably end up donating some to the NICU as well if they take it due to this whole coronavirus situation. But yeah, as far as breast pumps go, I got a lot of questions on which breast pumps I use. I've actually used 4 different breast pumps. I was on a mission to find the best one, and let me tell you, it definitely makes a difference with how your milk production goes as well. So the first one I actually put on my registry, and I was really excited about it. It was the Lansinoh. Again, I'm linking everything down below. It was the Lansinoh like portable, battery operated with charging option breast pump, right? It worked wonderful for, I want to say, a month, and then the suction stopped working to where I can only pump one side at a time, and then it completely gave out. So that I was upset about. So then I went through insurance and got the Spectra S1, I believe, which is the rechargeable battery. You can take it everywhere with you, essentially. You just charge it overnight and it's good for like 3 days. That was awesome. And I also got the Elvie. Now, I've mentioned it on my Instagram before. My son had colic, so it was really, really difficult for, I want to say, a good 7 weeks. He was crying day and night nonstop to the point where I was crying. My husband didn't know what to do. Our parents didn't know how to help. It was unbearable for everybody. Poor kid apparently has an egg intolerance, and I had no idea, and I was eating like 4 or 5 eggs a day. So his colic was severely bad, screaming day and night, and I couldn't sit down to pump. So one day I was like, screw this, I'm going to Target, I'm going to get the Elvie. I got the Elvie pump. Now, granted, it's $500. I didn't want to spend that money, but I was desperate. I used it for almost a month and then said, screw this, it's not that good of a pump for me. Ended up returning it. It was super convenient because you could just put it into your bra. It's hands-free completely and you're done. It never emptied out my boobs. I usually get 4 ounces per boob. This was giving me like 2 ounces a boob. And the suction was kind of hurting me even on the lowest setting. So I was like, screw this, it's not worth it. He's gonna outgrow his colic. I would rather have the $500 back in my bank account. So I ended up returning the pump. The last pump I got, which has been the best pump, honestly, it is the Medela, I believe the Medela Symphony. It's the one that they give you in the hospital to use. Now, it's $2,000. It's stupid expensive. I am renting it. You should be able to go on the Medela website, which I'll link down below. Or if you're with like Kaiser or something, they're able to rent it out to you. A lot of hospitals have the renting option. And I'm paying, I think, like $70 a month to rent it for as long as I need. You guys, this pump is amazing. It empties my boob in 10 minutes versus my Spectra taking like 18 minutes to get the same job done. The motor is definitely a $2,000 motor. Like, you are getting what the product is worth for sure. I definitely, like, the Spectra was covered through my insurance. The Medela Symphony was not. I would definitely go through your insurance as well to see what your coverage is. But for me personally, it's the only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because you have to be plugged into a wall no matter what. It doesn't have, you know, a plugless, it doesn't have a plugless option. But I have to say that's probably been what's keeping me going with breastfeeding. It's very difficult as a new mom to try to figure out what your breastfeeding journey is going to be like. I know a lot of women didn't even want to. I feel like with the next child, I definitely will still try. But I also kind of like where my scheduling is now, and I'm not pumping 10 times a day. I'm pumping 4 times a day, and it's usually around the time that he naps. Sometimes I sit next to him on the floor while he's doing tummy time and I'm pumping. It's just a lot easier for me. I'm able to produce a surplus amount and have bottles ready when we're going somewhere, versus, you know, trying to get him to latch is just such a mission. This guy does not like my boobs at all. So hopefully the next kid does. But yeah, fed is best no matter which way, you know, which way you feed your babies. You're doing, you know, you're doing amazing no matter what. So that's been my breastfeeding journey. It has definitely been a frustrating one, but it's still rewarding being able to produce enough food for my little guy. If you guys have seen his photos, he is a chunky baby, so obviously it's doing him some good. I definitely, you know, recommend if you're struggling with breastfeeding. I was telling myself every single night, okay, just one more day, just one more day, to the point where I push through the really difficult part, and now it's just a part of my everyday life. But I do want to say on that note, if it is causing you so much more anxiety and stress than it is good, just do whatever's best for you, because if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way that you can take care of that baby. You know, I was breastfed only for 3 months and grew up on formula. I'm fine. Plenty of us have been on formula. Plenty of us have been on strictly breast milk. You got to do what's best for you, and you got to do what's best for your baby. So don't let anyone guilt you for, you know, making whatever decisions that you're making for you and for your baby. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next up, I'm going to have his nursery tour, and this weekend I will be filming a day in the life with a newborn weekend quarantine edition. So if you guys are interested in more videos, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, ask me questions. Thanks. Bye.